Hi, it's Karen here. Welcome to another day in our 24 day of tags for 2020. Here I'm going to be using peeled paint Distress Oxides, and I'm going to use Shady Lane in VersaFine Clair to create this simple and I think pretty elegant tag. We're going to be using a stamp from Lavinia called Fairy Fir Tree. It's the small one. We're also going to be using the Joy to the World stamp from Sweet Poppy Stencils. And to create this extra bit of interest, I went through my set of dies because I have a lot. And I thought, what can I do to add a bit of interest? Now this one, I absolutely love it. I don't often use it as a whole piece, but look at those interesting little embellishments there. So I die cut one and I've cut the edges and decorated it on the edge like that. Bit of ribbon. Let's get started. As always, my tags are 6.5 centimetres wide by 12.5 centimetres long. We're going to start first by doing the stamping. So taking my Fairy Fir Tree, small. Let me just tell you the size and dimensions of these little circles. So this circle here is 2¼ inches wide diameter. You can either use a circle punch, a die, or draw around something, but that's 2¼ and the one underneath it, I've used it to mount it on. I'm using Paper Mill Direct's hemp cardstock. Now you can't buy that anymore, they've discontinued it because I don't think they thought it was very popular, but linen cardstock, basil cardstock, anything with a tiny bit of texture will work really well in the background. So first we're going to do the main stamping and then we will do the blending around the edges. So as I said, I'm using Shady Lane here, inking up the Fairy Fir Tree small stamp, and I'm going to put one there, second generation a bit further down, and then I'm going to ink it up again. Making sure it's properly inked there, and I'm going to stamp it on the left. Okay, voila. Then I'm going to stamp my Joy. This is Joy to the World, as I said, from Sweet Poppy Stencils. And I'm going to use Nocturne, VersaFine Clair Nocturne. And when I do this, I'm going to ink up the whole stamp. There are a number of different ways you can do this if you are just using a part of the stamp. I just want to make sure that that's fully inked. And then I'm going to use a piece of stencil tape. And I'm just going to mask off the areas of the stamp that I don't want it to come up. There we go. And now I'm going to stamp just there. Joy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to blend all the way around the edge. For that, I'm going to use peeled paint Distress Oxides and my smoothie. And I'm ever so lightly, because you can see it's ever so gentle. Now, one of these blending brushes will work just as well because it's nice and gentle, but I really love my smoothies. So starting ever so gently off the card and keep moving my smoothie in a circular motion. entire edge of that tag, and I'm going to do the same around the joy. There we go. So we have now all the components to our tag. I'm just going to wipe my fingers because we don't need that all over our tag. And before we go much further, I'm just going to punch a hole in the top of the tag there. Just using that as my template, and I'm going to use my big bite to create the hole there. I'm going to just put a bit of colour, not much, just a bit of colour onto our little embellishments. And then I'm going to glue those in place. So, as I said, I love Cosmic Shimmer, and I use it, I decant it into this tiny little bottle because I've got this tiny minute point, which means that I can be a bit more precise with my gluing. Now, I'm quite happy that I have, gone over the edge here with my little embellishments. That's fine, because when it's dry, I'm just going to cut them off. So I'm just going to follow the circle round and cut off the excess pieces. There we go. Now I'm going to glue this to the back. And because I'm using Cosmic Shimmer, I've got a few minutes to maneuver it into place. Then we're going to take, I just had this green cord in my stash. I'm trying to be very good at the moment and use all the pieces of my stash that I've had for ever. See, I can't talk and glue at the same time. So I'm just going to run that down the centre of my card. Like that. I'm going to cut it off just before the hole. There we go. And then we're going to glue this in place like that. You know, if you don't have exactly the same die, that's fine. You know, we could put a piece of ribbon, any kind of die, just look at them all in a different way. And then we're just going to pop that onto there. Just a single bob of glue on the bow. And there we have it. And then I've just got a piece of green sheer organza ribbon. That I'm just going to loop through, just like that. So there we have our tag for today. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'd love to see what you make. Please post your makes in the group. And until tomorrow. Bye.